Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. My name is Cheryl, and today I'm here to bring you the Netflix book tag. Now, I wasn't tagged to do this, but has that ever stopped me before? I did see this originally on Birdie Reads channel. I will link her video down below as well as the original video down below. So the concept of this is like every other tag. Basically, there are questions themed around Netflix, which is a streaming service that streams movies, TV shows, etc., if you were not aware, and then just books or characters or things that relate to the questions. But without further ado, let's just get into the questions. So number one is recently watched, the last book you finished reading. So at the time of filming this, the last book I have finished reading was The Curious Incident of the Dog in the Nighttime by Mark Haddon. If my review is not already up by the time this video goes up, it will be up shortly after. It will be a spoiler-free review, like most of my reviews are. Overall, I really enjoyed this book. Number two is top picks. A book or books that have been recommended to me based on another book I've read. I struggled with this a lot more than I probably should have, and I eventually settled on Cinder by Marissa Myers, or just in general the Lunar Chronicles series. Now, I guess I'm loosely interpreting this question because this book was not recommended to me because of a specific book I've read, but everyone basically and their mother was raving about this series, and they've said if you like sci-fi and you like fantasy, both of which I like, you'll absolutely love the series. So that is why I've chosen it for this question. Like I said, loose interpretation. Number three, recently added, the last book you bought. Oh look, another video of mine that features ACOWAR. Number four, popular on Netflix. Books that everyone knows everything about. And for this prompt, you're actually supposed to pick 2 books you've read and 2 books you haven't. So I've got 4 books to show you for this one. So the 2 I haven't read are Nevernight by Jay Kristoff and Every Heart a Doorway by Seanan McGuire. I have heard everyone just rave about these books as of late. So yeah, I know a fair bit about both of them because people just don't shut up about these books, so they've got to be good. And the 2 that I have read that everyone knows about and won't shut up about are Throne of Glass by Miss Sarah J. Maas, and I don't have the first one, so this is the second book in the series, but Sea of Monsters, or more importantly, just the Percy Jackson and the Olympian series by Rick Riordan. Everyone loves these series. Well, that's not true. People either love or hate this series. It's pretty divided. But either way, everyone knows about these series here on BookTube. 5. Comedies. A funny book. So the book I've chosen for this is also another loose interpretation because apparently that's just what I do when I do tag videos. And that is John Dies at the End by David Wong. This is not a comedy. Like, the genre of this book is classified as like horror more than anything. But the narrator has a really dark and twisted sense of humor that matches up perfectly with my sense of humor. So I found this book absolutely, like, it was fucking hilarious. I don't know if it was intended to be, but it was to me. So, there we go. Are we on 6? I'm just gonna say we are. Drama. A character who is a drama king or queen. So I'm gonna go with Alexander from the Braun Horseman series, or trilogy, I think. I've only read the first book. I don't know how he is in the rest of the series, but this fucking character just, like, the world was crashing around him if he didn't get his way. And the world, it was the most terrible thing ever if something was slightly inconveniencing to him. It was just, I got really, really fed up and frustrated with him because, like I said, this man thought the world revolved around him, and if things didn't go his way, it was the end of the world. 7. Animated. A book with cartoons on the cover. So I'm also going to cheat a little on this one and use a graphic novel. And the one I chose is At the Mountains of Madness by Cullbard. This is originally a Lovecraft story, so it's obviously a graphical interpretation of it. It's not even like the most spectacular cover, but it was the one closest to me, and I'm actually quite fond of this cover, so. 8. Watched Again. A book or series that you want to reread. So I actually have a whole video for this planned, so keep an eye out in the next month or so for that. But the one I chose for this is the Twilight series by Stephenie Meyer. I have already read Twilight, as you can tell by all of these tabs, and I will link my video down below. It is not spoiler free. I had a lot to say about this book and how much I hated it. Big surprise. It's like a 20 or 30 minute rant video basically, but that inspired me to reread the rest of the series and see how much I love, or more likely hate it. So yeah, keep an eye out for those videos when I can finally get my hands on a copy of, is it New Moon is the second one? I think it is, because every time I go to Goodwill, which I'm not paying full price for these books, they're not worth it. So every time I go to Goodwill, I look for the next one in the series, and there's always like 5 copies of Eclipse and like 3 copies of Breaking Dawn and maybe 1 Twilight, but never the second one in the series. So I don't know when I'll continue the series, but I hope to at some point. I don't remember which number we're on, so I'm just gonna go with the next one. Documentaries, a non-fiction book you'd recommend to everyone. So the book I chose for this is one I don't think I've ever talked about before on my channel, but that is Sleeping Naked is Green by Vanessa Farquharson. I am terrible with names. Farquharson. I'm pretty sure I butchered that name, so we're just gonna roll with it. This is just a really short snippet into this woman's life as she has decided to try to make changes in her life that benefit the environment and try to do her part to stop the rampant tide of climate change. What I really enjoyed about this book is that she took things to the extreme. She, stopped using a fridge, she sold her car, she did all of these things, but in this journey, and she knew she was going to be extreme doing it, but in this journey, she basically found that even little changes are better than nothing. Even little changes like turning off a light when you leave a room, turning off your air conditioning when you're not home, things like that are just as important as maybe doing something dramatic like selling your car and walking everywhere. And she said that she mentioned how fortunate she was to live in a city where there is a major public transportation system, and that she's like, obviously that's not something that can happen for everyone. Like where I personally live, there is no major, or I think any public transportation system, so I could not sell my car, and even biking everywhere would just be pretty long distances. I just really liked her perspective, her point of view. She was funny, but she also stressed the importance of you don't have to do the crazy things she did to still be eco-friendly. So the next one is Action and Adventure, an action-packed book. So the book I chose for this is Illuminae by Amy Kaufman and Jay Kristoff. Boy oh boy, this book is just a roller coaster of a ride from the start to the finish, and the sequel or companion novel, Gemina, is the exact same way. Literally, once the story takes off, you do not get off the ride until the very end. There is so much action in this book. And I'm not a big action person, whether it's in books or movies, but I really enjoyed it. I really enjoyed how fast-paced and how entertaining this whole book, and I guess so far this whole series has been. Would recommend it if you are looking for an action-y read. So the next one is New Releases, a book that just came out that you can't wait to read. So I don't have any on my on my shelves or from my library that are just released this year or this month. The closest thing I have to that is ACOWAR, but like I've said, I've already read it, and I do have a nice spoiler-free review for that. Also, I never mentioned this, but any of these books that I have spoiler-free reviews for, I will link down below, so don't forget to check those out. But the book I've chosen for this did come out last year, and a lot of people are still raving about it, and that is, once again, Every Heart a Doorway by Shauna Maguire. Everyone just absolutely has devoured this book and recommended it. It's so short that I just wonder how they can pack in such a powerful and moving story into only 150 pages, I think. I don't know, but everyone raves about it and says that this is fantastic, so I'm definitely looking forward to picking it up. So the next one is Continue Watching, the book you're currently reading. So I'm actually currently in between books because I just finished The Curious Incident of the Dog in the Nighttime this morning, and I have been doing errands and things like that, so I haven't actually picked up another book. But the next one I intend to pick up is Volume 1 of Saga by Brian K. Vaughan and Fiona Staples. I have heard only magnificent things about this series, and the cover is really cool, and the art looks fantastic, so I'm really looking forward to this. Also, graphic novels are really quick reads for me, and I'm really behind on my Goodreads goal, so yeah. So the next one is Children and Family, children or middle grade book. So the one I've chosen for this is one I've talked about a few times on my channel already, and that is Larklight, a rousing tale of dauntless pluck in the furthest reaches of space by Philip Reeve. I adored this book. I read it around Christmas, and I flew through it because it's middle grade, and there's illustrations, so it's really quick to read. But overall, this book is just fantastic. It follows a set of siblings as they basically are launched into space and a space battle as they try to find out what's going on, where their parents have gone. It involves spiders, giant space alien spiders, and action and adventure. It is so good. I am looking forward to picking up the next one. I just haven't yet. highly, highly recommend it. So the next one is one I actually don't have a book for. And the prompt is a little strange because basically you're supposed to pick a book based on the state, or I guess country if you're in a country that doesn't have states. But you're supposed to pick a book from where you are and recommend it to people. I am currently living in Kentucky, and I do not think I have any books on my shelves that take place in Kentucky, so I don't have anything to recommend for this one. I am sorry. So the next one is classics, your favorite classic. Mine is Animal Farm by George Orwell. I don't really like classics that much. I know. I should. They're supposed to be like the most beautifully and poignantly written things, and everyone should just devour them, and modern literature shit in comparison. And like, I just don't feel that way. I have found very few classics that I haven't found boring and pretentious. Basically anything written by George Orwell I've enjoyed. I've found other classics here and there, but Animal Farm, I read it in high school and it has stuck with me ever since. So if you have not picked up this before, it is super short, very quick, and very important. I would highly recommend it. So the next one is my list, the next 2 books you plan to read. So because I am the queen of repeating answers, I'm going with Saga Volume 1, which I've already said I am intending to pick up sometime today, and then once again, Every Heart a Doorway by Shauna Maguire. Both of these, like I've said before, are going to be really quick, really fast reads. I'm trying to catch up at least a little bit on my Goodreads goal, and then I don't know what I'm going to read after this. I'm trying to like intersperse library books in between the TBR I have at home because I'm trying to read that down. So what I usually do is I'll read 1 or 2 library books and then read a book from home. So yeah, I don't know what I'm going to read after these 2, but hopefully I get through them fairly quickly. So the next one is Max, Tag People. I don't know who to tag because I know this tag is fairly old, so I know a lot of people have done it. I also just don't have anyone off the top of my head, so if you want to do this tag, you're tagged. Let me know in the comments down below if you do it, and I will definitely make sure to check it out because this actually was a lot of fun, even though my stack of books that are next to me from all the answers is like up to my knees. As always, thank you for watching, and don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. As always, all of my social media is linked down in the description. Don't forget to follow me on Twitter, Instagram, Tumblr, all those fun places. I will see you guys in my next video. Bye!